Oh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got 2 reviews for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I've got to say, I actually think they shouldn't have released these. I don't think they're allowed to, because it was embargoed. But these reviews are all Spanish, and I believe it's currently released in Spain. So they've kind of crept in under the embargo, but it's looking not good. 2.5 out of 5 considered fresh. I wouldn't say that's fresh. I mean, it's 5 out of 10. And a 5 out of 10 considered rotten. I'd say both of them are not particularly great. But one of them is fresh and one of them's rotten. So I thought we'd take a look. Because because it's the end of an era, I guess. The end of the DCEU. So this is all in Spanish, but we shall translate it. Because, we can do that with the wonders of the interwebs. Aquaman and the Remain Lost. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Oof. So James Wan returns as director in the latest DC Universe film before the reboot, a sequel that wants to be more serious than the first part and forgets what made it work so well. Just as an FYI, because this is translated, it may not come across completely correct. So the DC Universe has undoubtedly been a journey. The comic book publishing house-based franchise, blah, blah, blah. Not really the point. The Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the 4th film in this universe to hit cinemas this year. The latest before the great reboot being from Peter Safran and James Gunn. So Jason Momoa's character was one of the biggest surprises of this decade of heroes and villains. Summoned in BVS on Christmas 2018, his first solo film arrived in theatres. No one was able to predict will become one of the biggest titles in the DC Universe, passing $1 billion. Let's scroll down. So, the idea with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was to repeat the formula. James Wan backing the director and Momoa leading the cast. The filmmaker's main goal was to expand Atlantis' world building, and that largely gets it. So he largely does that. He largely achieves it. But along the way, he forgets what made the first installment work, as well as showing other problems as a result of the changing of the guard in DC and Warner Brothers. Interesting. The film is an absolutely independent installment of the franchise. There are no cameos, no mentions of a larger universe, and of course no other meta-human seems concerned about the global crisis that unfolds. Aquaman combines his day-to-day life between reigning Atlantis and raising his son alongside Mera, but his archenemy Black Manta is still committed to revenge. When he tests his plan, Aquaman will have to ask for help from those who least expected him to stand up to him, his half-brother Orm. Some dodgy crossover of language here, but it doesn't matter. As was already the case with the first Aquaman, James Wan wanted to have a great time paying tribute to a lot of different genres. The sequel wants to be mostly a buddy movie, mature film, they say here, but moves from a family sitcom to a pulp, becomes Star Wars, Travel to the Center of the Earth, and also returns to Lord of the Rings. However, what in the first was a well-designed roller coaster and moved from set piece to set piece fluidly, here's a journey that stumps, in which the leap from one thing to another is quite abrupt. Bad pacing. So the main problem with the sequel is that you can see the excess hands behind it. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has accumulated date and reshoot movements. This is very true. They mess around with this movie loads. And along the way, there have been very important guard changes in the parent company. Warner and the studio itself, DC, only they know what happened in assembly and in the meeting rooms, but what distills the film is little James Wan and many scissors. So basically saying the end result of the film doesn't look like a James Wan film. So in direction, Wan has a great time, again, trying to mix humour, terror, action, and epic, and places very interesting ingredients in the pot, but the result is that there were too many cooks in the kitchen and their vision is diluted until they are left in too many half-cooked ideas. A family sitcom with a prologue, as a few echoes later, despite the importance of the plot. The dynamic between the brothers is the best the film has. So the best part is Jason Momoa and Orm, so Aquaman and Orm, but they don't trust it so much, cutting it every time they have a something moment to put them into a battle scene. A character that might have been comic relief turned out to feel like an intruder in a film that wants to be more solemn than the first. Aquaman wasn't perfect, but I knew what I wanted to be, and that's why it worked. Oh, it knew what it wanted to be, and it was worked. Didn't take itself too seriously. and that was her great virtue. God, some bad translation. James Wan wanted us to have a good time, and he did. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom wants to be much more serious, and all it gets is for the blows of humour to protrude, not exactly for the better. The nod to the comic that is Arthur riding a seahorse in the first would have worked better for the overall tone of the film. So, janky tone, bad pace. Momoa doesn't seem to know how to get Arthur's more macrame side? What the fuck is that? He's pure charisma, but the movie doesn't let him look at it. It ends up very eclipsed by Patrick Wilson and that duality of Orm. How he wants to protect Atlantis, even if it's not by the best means. How does he keep those subtleties that lead to the thought that at any moment he can play it to everyone? So we've got good chemistry with Momoa. The one left in anecdotal appearances is Nicole Kidman, who has a scene to have a good time, but not as much as he enjoys fighting the lighthouse. It's also a pleasant surprise that despite the rumours, they've not forgotten about Mera altogether. It's true that Amber Heard happens to be a totally secondary character, but she has scenes to shine and moments to bring out her powers. Yeah. The visual effects are bad as well. Oh. Although Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom do not weigh the longer duration compared to the former, it does have a much more irregular rhythm and above all a much more inconsistent assembly, denoting again the excess of the hands involved, and it also doesn't get rid of the crisis that the visual effects sector is going through, which is particularly striking in a case like this, which rubs the being an animated film while in the foreground there is an improvement over the first. For example, with the animation of the mains, which is still far from realistic, in the battles there is sometimes even a quality drop from Aquaman. Oh no. Uncanny Valley. Oh, so brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Love it. So, yeah, it's bad. Basically. Not particularly well liked, it seems. This one gave it a 2.5 out of 5. So let's have a look at this one, shall we? Go away. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the string of high to maximum power. Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson shine in an even crazier DC hobby than their predecessor. So again, they're saying the chemistry is good. So there's that, I guess. Go away. Let's have a look. Everyone does their same intro, don't they? It's been 10 years. That has surely devoted the public interest, and I'm sure it doesn't help the fact that it's clearly inferior to its predecessor, this movie. However, it offers a minimum of entertainment and fun for which it should not be defended either. Alright. Like it, what's very clear about Aquaman is that it was a crazy pastime in which a lot of things could have gone wrong. There are spectators classify it as blah blah blah, great disruption. This one's terrible translation. So, from seeing the escapes for 5 minutes in Aquaman and Lost Kingdom suddenly becomes a monster movie. The chemistry between Momoa and Wilson, much greater than the one the first showed with Heard, drives the film forward and leaves us several fun moments that fit very well with what's already proposed, the first installment. Okay. So, yeah, Mera's in it. 2 people have now mentioned this. Oh, I didn't know... Pilu Asbek. He's good. Is he in this? I like him. I think he's great. All this dressed with digital schizophrenia that its predecessor already showed. Oh, wow. With some moments that really managed to be impressive, but also others in which he sings to the league that we are simply seeing a doll generated from a computer clerk. Okay, no. The point is that one bets on disdain at all levels, and that's something that completely depends on the viewer buying it or wanting to rip his eyes off. Holy shit. I mean, it's not positive. Completely ignores that it's the final DCEU film, so no reference to anything. Yeah, there you go. I mean, these are not good reviews. So there you have it. Love to hear your thoughts. So drop it down below. Give the video a like and a share. Take care.